Hello everyone, how good of you to join and welcome to a new Anno 1800 Let's Play. And today, nope, we're not starting from scratch. Today we start with the Tourist Season DLC that just launched like 10 minutes ago, and we're already looking at our beautiful big mega city Crown Falls. And one thing for sure, the city still stands. So in the past it was always like a new DLC hits and all the mods broke. Remember, we have over 90 mods installed for this one, and I've actually got a few mods more ready to take off here, and the game is still working flawlessly. That is really cool. So that is another fix that came with the latest updates, that the mods don't break anymore whenever there is a new DLC incoming, and that's just amazing. Well, just for your information before we get cracking with all the new features, if you're interested in how this city was actually created in the past 40 hours or so of this Let's Play, then just have a look at the 1800 Ultimate Edition that I have also in the video description. Other than that, let's get cracking with all the new features. There's so many new things in this game with the tourist season. We do have now bus systems. We do now have new monuments. I've actually got 9 more monuments ready for takeoff that we will install in the city here. We got new products, new production chains. We get a whole new residence tier. That's the tourists that we have down there, and that's pretty cool, right? They're still locked behind here. As we can see, the bus stop and the hotel is one of those first buildings that we're going to unlock, and everything else is still in development, still what we need to unlock, and that's going to be pretty cool. One thing though that we can see over here, well, my scholar district is kind of desolate. I have no idea where my scholars went, so the scholar building is gone. It's also disappeared from the building. It's just a problem for now though. I'm pretty sure that a small hotfix is coming in and my buildings will be there again. It happened in the past with some other buildings already, so no big deal. Everything else is looking fine. So I think we can go right into all of that. We actually got 2 brand new big quest lines. One is now in the tourist season, and one would also be in Africa. So in Africa we can actually go back because there's a whole new quest line waiting for us there as well. And just for your information, we are playing here the ultimate playthrough with the military mod installed, of course. That means we do have quite some strong opponents. So Hugo Mercier is still in the game, and in the old world we do have Princess Ching fighting for survival right now, and of course also Hugo Mercier. I think Miss Hunt we already cracked, and that was here in Todmorden. Now, speaking of Todmorden, that's actually one of the first few things that we need to do is our influence. So we are not that high on influence. I actually do have a few islands in the old world. Let's get rid of them because I absolutely don't need them, and we will need the influence rather sooner than later. I think 3 islands that I can get rid of that I really don't need here. That's absolutely fine, and for now we don't need to look at the old world, even though having a smaller tourist area here for later might be a very good idea for Sleepy Hollow. But of course our focus is on Crown Falls. So the first thing that we need to do here now is, well, actually we have so many things prepared, I have a huge list of stuff that we need to do. The first thing that we actually need to do is, well, our first mission that we get from these tourists. As we can see, there's also the other mission here right away, Epic of Lions. Look on my works, ye mighty. And here we got the other quest now, the new quest, the first tourist. The tourist asks you to build a tourist mooring so that she and her friends can take a possibly well-earned vacation on your island. The public mooring isn't nearly welcoming enough for those wanting to make a longer stopover. It does not scream luxury holiday. And we need to, upgrade our public mooring that we have in this very, very ugly harbor area. So that is one of the things that we will need to improve. But let's get cracking on the upgrading the tourist mooring. And boom, it's changing the color. How good is that? And with that, we have now officially unlocked the tourists. Tourists flock to city in droves. The recent unveiling of the spanking new tourist mooring has seen hordes of hungry holiday makers stream into the city, requesting nothing but the finest hotels, food and amenities. A sneak peek at one cruise ship's ledger reveals more than 60 nationalities represented on board. What? Where are they all coming from? Going right into my city. There we have it now. And we should be having a few more stats now. So at the moment we have already 11,000 tourists in the city. That's of course the day tourists that we had up to this point. And with that we get now the overnight tourists as well that are going to stay here with us quite a bit longer. And the first tourist will like to float in now. So the tourist asks you to build a hotel and to connect it to the harbor by bus for her convenience. In her own words, travel is terribly tiresome, you know, and one must have an omnibus at one's back and call to deliver all the luggage to the hotel and take one around of the nice and interesting places. So in that case here, build a hotel and build a bus stop to connect the hotel to the tourist mooring, right? So that's one thing that we need to do here in this very beginning. So let's just have a look around. Let's go for the tourists. There we have now tourist ornaments, quite a lot of them. Oh my goodness, we're going to use all of these beautiful monuments or ornaments that we can use, and beautiful cherry blossom trees, or cherry tree seed, this one here, fantastic. And there is the hotel actually. And another thing that comes now to mind is that all of these special buildings have this bus stop here. That basically means that they are ready for tourists to be visited, right? So we should have a bus stop, for example, near the Variety Theater. We should have one near the zoo, near the museum, and of course all the bigger monuments that we have here in the town center. For example, that's pretty cool. Even the modded monuments that we have, like a town hall monument, are acknowledged as a monument and thus are, well, wanted or visited by tourists. Now, one thing that we already have in the city thanks to some mods is those hotels here, right? The chief post office. They're still working fine, producing post, as we can see, letters for our public station. So we do get a bus line now into the city. We already have a train line in the city, and I hope we can, well, make their additions and connect them quite fine, right? The train is really the faster route, so it goes all around here. As we can see, there's lots of trains actually on the tracks around that are traversing the city, because we have quite a large train network at this point. So the public mooring, right, they can go to the train station. That is the idea behind it. They can also use this avenue here, and this avenue we're going to use for the bus system now. What I would like to do first, let's just check this one out. We have the bus stop number 1. The bus stop number 1, unfortunately, is pretty far away from that here. So we're definitely going to have the bus station here, right? So let's get rid of that little place there. And this one here is going to be bus number 1. And then we definitely would like to have a bus here in the center, obviously. And we also need some hotels. Now, over here, we have our central station. Right, that's the big building where we have several train lines coming together. So, for example, going to the industrial harbor, they're going to the main harbor, the tourist harbor, and also up here to the northern districts of Crown Falls. And this little fellow here, well, they want, well, hotels. And we should be getting those hotels rather close by. So one thing that I would like to do now is I'm going to get rid of a few things here. Right, I just have to warn you, I'm going to destroy a lot of buildings in the upcoming minutes, so please don't feel so hurted about that. The hotels are rather big, as I can see, so let's just get rid of those houses there as well. Yep, that's hurting a bit there, but no, well, I can't change that. And there we can now have our first hotel. It's going to be the Grand Central Hotel. It's going to be the hotel close in the city center, in our exquisite metropolis. So the transport here that we have, the central station, which is a mod, by the way, that is coming in here with the train, right? So that the passengers are being transported then, as we can see, they're being produced here more or less, and they're being transported then to the other parts of the city. Now, let's get the first hotel cracking. I mean, they look fantastic, these new buildings, right? And just beside, look at that, just beside the central station, we could have them. I think it's fitting in really nicely here, right? We could also have it here, or we have a little monument there. I don't know yet. Let's have the hotel. And boom, there we have it, the first hotel. Unfortunately, there's no bus stop ready at the moment. And with that, we can also see the new tourist residence now in Crown Falls. And what we can see is she's got quite a lot of demands. Holy cow, there's 500 fitting into that. And yep, they really have a lot of demands. Now we do need to start our bus line, right? Our bus station. Well, first of all, we have it on the other side of the map now of Crown Falls, and I would like to have it here. It's looking a bit densely populated in the area, so there's not that much I can do. I can do it here. Can we connect it then? Yes, this should be working fine. Let's get rid of those ornaments there. And we might just have then the bus station right next to it. So this is where our tourists will get their first stop. And we do have the hotel in its area, right? There we got the first bus. Womberton Station, it's called. We can also name those ourselves if we want to. And on the other side of Crown Falls, we are now having the next bus stop here that is connecting it then with the public mooring. And there we have it. Select the bus stop to see the area of effect and its network reach. As we can see though, this bus stop here has a, well, limited radius, right, of where it's working. And we kind of like want to connect the green, well, areas. So we do need yet another bus stop that we're going to have then somewhere here most likely, so that we can connect all of them together. Now there we have a connection. We have now 3 bus stops. Here in the middle we have the other one. Transportation means travel, travel means adventure, onward. And as we can see, there is now the first buses in the city itself. And tourists can now travel along. Now we have the travel network in the city. And as we can see, our travel network at the moment only really has the tourist mooring in its area of influence. There's nothing else yet connected to our bus stations, right? We need to be aware that we need to, well, connect a lot of those together. Now with the first hotel that is now connected on the other side, we should also be seeing a bus then here at some point. There we have now the hotel, and they have now a direct connection with the tourist mooring, and thus we get the first tourists incoming. What a beautiful building, really, right here in the center of Crown Falls. And it's not going to be our only hotel. I want to expand quickly. We want to go right for the next hotel, which we're going to have here by the harbor area. Now we already had a little DLC or a modded hotel here that I no longer need. And we can really just squeeze in another hotel if we want to. And I think this might be a better one. Yep, and we're going to have the next hotel right here. I'm calling it Seaside Hotel because those people have a jolly good view of, well, not of Crown Falls necessarily, but out there towards the ocean looking at the harbor. And of course all the trains passing through here as well. I will probably need to remodel the train network here in the harbor area.
To create beyond imagination, built well.
A good variety theater, but we'll ignore any venues
Alright,
not
next
properly
mission we
connected
get
to the bus
right
network.
away. The tourists ask you to build a variety theater and connect it to a hotel by bus. Taking in a show you see is one of the first expectations of the overnight traveler wishing to absorb the cultural highlights and footlights of any given surroundings. Now bear in mind, this is just a small introduction questline. We will unlock everything here, and of course we also have lots of new products that we need to create. For example, jam that we have now, shampoo that we have now, so 2 new production chains, and of course lots and lots of new buildings available. So we need to find us a nice little variety theater that we can connect with our bus stations. Let's just have a look around. Oh, and before we forget it, we should also check the hotel. As we can see, since we have reached now a certain threshold of tourists, we have now unlocked the bread, so at least eating they want now, but the variety theater is not met at this point. So that is another thing. We have the bus here. There is another major road going up to this side, and then we actually have a variety theater. So I might be having the bus here. Let's actually take this variety theater here because it is not so far away from the center, and we can have another smaller bus station right here in the area. Once again, unfortunately, we need to get rid of one building there at least, right? So yeah, just get used to that. We're going to destroy a lot of buildings there in the in the upcoming, well, minutes and hours. And there's the next station. It's probably going to be a final station or something like that, a final destination. And there we have the variety theater now connected to our bus network. And as we can see, it's now there as well. And also, the first buses are now traveling. Unfortunately, there's no tourist in it at this moment. Oh, actually there is. There is actually 2 tourists already in the bus. Now, very good. That's that. And know one thing, even if a hotel is connected to hotspot need by bus, the need might not be fulfilled 100% if the distance between them is too great. So we shouldn't maximize distances too much with the bus. Of course, traveling time goes up then. Now, another thing we need to do is here in this little spot, we actually have a bit of space, and I would like to start my first next monument that we can play here, and that is the embassy. So the embassy we had here at some point, but I think it kind of like got destructed. So there we have it once again, and we need to start construction now of this building here. Cost us a bit of reinforced concrete, 10 minutes of our time, and some farmers. Now farmers is actually something that we don't have that much at the moment, and I think what we also might need here is a warehouse. So I'm going to assign a warehouse to this area here, most likely right next to the future embassy, and connect it there so it does get its resources, right? We want to have this building here in the city center. Beautiful, and that's working now. That brings me though to the question, where are all my farmers? Now we don't have a whole lot of farmers in Crown Falls itself. We also get Captain Felicity Phoenix back from the grave. What? She's back from the grave. And she gives me some navigation force and naval power bonus for my ships. Of course, we could also just use it on one of our expeditions, if we so choose. Now, we do have a couple of farmer villages in the world, right? For now, we have, for example, the Happy Farmers in Kareth. And what I can see right away is they lack work clothes. Now, let's just check real quick. Why do they lack work clothes? Kareth, do we not have something? It's pretty extensive looking at our trade network, and that is just Crown Falls here, by the way. So this is just this world that we have active right now. And yes, there's actually a work cloth schnapps trade route that is not working at the moment. So I will need to assign a few new ships to that. It's not a very important good, but I'm going still with a cargo ship. Spindle Needle 3 is available for the job. And hopefully we get some workload over there, because otherwise those farmers will not be plentiful. As we can see, there's 2 farmers per house missing right now. So that's actually making a difference. The other thing we would have is in Halfbrink. Halfbrink is fine though. Nothing that we need to do here. Kareth is, well, waiting now. And then we have Heavenly Gate, which is fine, but we have a bit of space here. So I would like to continue also with building a few more farmhouses than in this area too. There is our marketplace. Let's use a brick road to extend the reach for this one, so that we get the additional population that we need for all the new buildings, of course. And also, yep, there is some people now working here at the construction site for the embassy. What we can also see here right away is actually something very strange. These tourists, they really don't want to travel by foot, because they have not the fullest variety theater demand at the moment. And as we can see, there is one though right around the corner, but they're not walking that far, right? They want a bus for that. We have the bus here, so I would need another bus station down here somewhere. Now let's have a look at that. We should have a school here somewhere. There's a school. That's going to be the school need, because with that I can actually get rid of this school here. Right, let's get rid of that. I no longer need that school, and instead we're going to have yet another bus station behind that variety theater in that corner here. And for ornaments, I will have to look at that later then, because there's just basically a whole lot of that stuff that we need to do right now. Some flower beds might be nice around it, perhaps also an elm tree, and something for the horses, even though we don't have that many horses in Crown Falls anymore. Right, there we have a bit of space. No idea what I'm going to use this one for now, but well, we'll see about that later. Now, how's that doing with the variety theater? Perfect. Now we have 100% coverage for these tourists here, because they can now use that bus here going right next to this one. Okay, so actually we do need more hotels in the way as well, as I can see right now. Without hotels we can't grow, of course, and we need around 10 hotels, I think, to reach the Iron Tower monument. Down here we need 4,000 tourists, so actually 8 hotels that we need. Since the seaside is such a beautiful view, we might just have the next hotel somewhere here around the corner, close to the beaches, and just down here actually. And there is also another problem then, and that is the docklands that we have there. They're not really looking beautiful at the moment, so that's something that I will need to change. Now, a new hotel, it's probably coming up then right here, so close to the BG. And there's also the street then connecting it with the harbor area. And of course, what this hotel here once again needs is another bus stop that we're going to apply to it. Unfortunately, there's no real monument here in the surrounding, but I'm planning something here. I'm planning to move the museum to this point here actually. So let's get rid of the police station there, and instead let's have first of all a fully connected road here, and after that we can then have the bus stop next to the hotel, and possibly also right next to the museum that we have then on that side here. Off it goes, the bus, onto this journey, and here we might actually be squeezing in a few other things then that we can upgrade or actually get rid of. So let's just have that one here, and yep, with that next hotel we actually reached the next threshold. Bus trip to the restaurant, we have unlocked our first new building, and with that also the dishes that we can choose them. Let's just make this a bit more beautiful here for now. So we do want to have some temperate groves in the surrounding area, some trees, and another new very cool addition is that those trees look a bit more natural now, and they don't have that much of a patch anymore in between, and some flowers there as well. And in here we have, I think, everything. So there's the hotel now. And keep in mind, we're going to remodel this whole harbor area. In order to do that, actually, we need to get rid of a few things here, right? So first of all, we have lots of depots there. I would like to exchange them with the historic harbor area. And we also have those sand mines. Now, those sand mines we're going to get rid of. And how do we do that? First of all, we need to build a few more ships. In our shipyard, let's go for more clippers. But of course, not only the clippers, but also our steamships. Now, in order for the new sand mines, what we need to do is actually we need to set up new sand mines somewhere else, not in Crown Falls anymore, and somewhere where preferably we do have some beach space. And we actually do have that here in Four Blossoms, for example, right? There we have a beautiful, bigger harbor area. And in this area, I would like now to have those new sand mines. First of all, what we need for that is, of course, a warehouse as close as possible to some place here, and then the sand mines. Now, one very cool thing that I just figured out is, or well, that I just saw is now with the patch, if we hover over a resource, we can actually see the storage on the island right now. That is really, really cool. So we can now see how much of that particular resource is being stored on one of these islands. For example, grain, as we can see where we have it and where we don't have it, and where we probably also don't need it. That's pretty cool. Now let's get cracking for these sand mines. We're probably going to need quite a few of them, and yeah, we can have probably overlapping it. That's fine. At least 3 here, I hope, at least. And one like that, that's not working anymore. This should though work. And boom, there we actually have now our sand mines all up and running. So in that case here, that's how many do we build now? 11. In Crown Falls itself, we have 9. So we're actually producing now more than previously, even though we need to be careful. Those are being boosted by electricity, right? So it's not a complete change. We do need a few more than what before, but well, we can do that in order to make this more beautiful. Now, another thing, another addition that we should have a look at right away is with our docklands, where we have the depots. Unfortunately, I don't have that many depots right now available. The thing is, we're not using the docklands very efficiently in Crown Falls at the moment. And I would like to completely change that, right? So after the latest playthrough, we have made quite a nice progress when it comes to using the docklands. So we can use now a lot of new goods for all of that. And the beer, for example, we produce quite a lot of. The same goes with the bread and with the soap. Now the soap is always my go-to product when it comes to exporting and importing stuff. And we actually have a few things here that we will need to import also to unlock more. By the way, I wonder if we have a higher export limit for Crown Falls itself. Now what we'll need to do is I'm going to get rid of, well, I'm going to actually build a few more depots if possible somewhere on the other side. Let's get rid of that sand mine for now. that we can get rid of all of these depots here that I no longer need. We have the public mooring still in the area. The public mooring I'm probably also going to move to another place, right? More to my industrial zone where we do need it more than, for example, now in the tourist area. The tourist area should definitely be something for more beauty. And public mooring, perfect. Now we have the public mooring on the other side. And in that case, I can now use the space close to my to my hotel in a more beautiful way, right? Because it definitely should look like more a proper harbor area that we can use then in here now for the hotel. That's one thing. Actually, let's continue for now though with the next building that we need, and that is the restaurants. So the restaurants is another, actually the first new building beside the hotel, and there we have it. This one uses recipes to satisfy tourist needs, and there is my favorite as well, the Archduke's Schnitzel. And it actually also introduces the first new workforce that we're going to need, and that is the consumers. Well, so much for that later. Let's just have a look at the quest. Tourist asks you to build a restaurant and connect it to a hotel by bus. A tourist expects to wine and dine every evening somewhere different than the place they're supposed to sleep. Hotel food, you must understand, is barely edible after the hour of 9 in the morning when the breakfast service ends. After that, it's nothing but deftly dried hunks of meat, overboiled vegetables, and dense over-reduced sauces. This must be a very bad hotel where she lives in. Certainly not going to be my hotel. And yeah, well, we do need to decide now on a new location for that. I think here we do have a nice one, right? This looks like a beautiful location just beside the palace gardens, having a hotel close by here. And of course, we are also going to need then a bus stop right next to something like that. So here beside the hotel gardens, let's get us the first hotel for Crown Falls. Once again, I need to get rid of some of these buildings. And here, I'm also going to get rid of some of these roads in order to use then the bus stop that we're going to need here inevitably. The restaurant, let's just have a look at that. Yep. It does require its space, but that's a good thing. And just beside the beautiful palace gardens, we have this restaurants. We might actually do something here. We might actually close this one up. Open. Let's make this one open so they have direct access to the palace gardens then itself. That is a beautiful location then. Totally. Let's build it. Our first restaurant. And of course, once again, it does need a bus connection. We have that right across the street. It's thus being connected, and the only thing that's really missing here now is, well, some decorations. And here, most likely, we might go for... Oh, by the way, we also unlocked the new Garrison Church, a new monument that we can build now. Very good. And let me just connect this one. Do we need... What do we need here? Is there some trees there on either side? And then most likely... Now, there's my paving once again, and let's just build us a nice little courtyard here for the entrance to the palace gardens. So there we have now our beautiful restaurant and their new building type. They act like public services but consume input goods. The input goods depend on the chosen recipe. Beautiful. It's called the Birons. Let's actually rename this one the Star of Enbesa. That sounds better. And let's have a look at that. So once again, of course, it needs to be close to a bus station. There it is. And we need to now choose a dish for that, right? A dish of the day for the restaurant. Let's have a look what we have. Here you can see all the available restaurant recipes. There's only one available right now, but you can unlock new ones later. Archduke's Schnitzel. In principle, restaurants act like public services but consume input goods. We had this. There we have now our first recipe for the Schnitzel. Depending on a recipe's ingredients, a restaurant will need different input goods, so make sure you have warehouses. Oh my goodness. Warehouses nearby. Okay, I can see that this is getting really complex. Now, we do need pigs, tallow, and potatoes, and they do have an effect The effect is Archduke, we do get 3 happiness for all the surrounding residences, minus 25 consumption for bread, fish and chocolate. Isn't that nice? Let's select it.
Must fetch Jemima and sample this new dish.
Well, it's raining, so there's not that many guests here at the moment. Also, problem is, of course, that, well, we don't have a warehouse connected to this new restaurant yet. So that's another thing we need to do. Unfortunately, this is bad for the surrounding houses that we have there. Let's just have a look around. We do need that warehouse there. It's going to, we need to destroy something, unfortunately. It has a huge radius though, right? So I don't think we need to be very close to it. I think this one here might be a fine location because we only have some very generic looking fountains there in the center. And I'm just going to get rid of that road here. Perfect. And there we have the warehouse right next to it. Let's of course upgrade the warehouse to some higher levels there as well, so that it fits in. And actually, let's also make a connection on the other side. Right, so now we have the connection, and as we can see, yep, there is actually someone already getting over there. Perfect. So far so good. We have the restaurant, we got the first tourists in the city. Well, now we just need to survive with them.
What modern city doesn't have a tour bus?
Stay tuned.